completed now. The nursing suite flooring is down. The joints have to be welded. The curtains aren't up yet, but that'll be done this week. Lighting and controls are all working. The programming is, Victor is going to be meeting with them tomorrow, I believe, on completing the programming of the lighting and controls. Fire alarm is operational. The emergency generator has been installed and tested. MedEd has installed the temporary primary transformer. Since they kind of messed up on us, they gave us a transformer to use for phase one, and then they're going to switch that out this summer for the rest of the building. Painting's completed, and the painter is going crazy, running around the building doing touch-up and trying to fix things when the contractors get inadvertently back into the wall. Casework installation as of today is complete. There's one or two tops that were not the right size, but they installed tops to compensate for that for occupancy. Again, MedEd installed primary transformer, nurse's suite, that's done. Fixtures to the science rooms, we're putting them in now. And inoperative gas regulator for the generator was fixed. And the final occupancy inspection is going to be on Friday. I'll be doing that as well as Victor and the inspector and all the contractors, or the superintendents of the contractors. You'll notice the net changes and pay-apps are blank. That's because I left them blank to get updated, and we really haven't, the checks just went out after the break, so we don't have any update numbers. As soon as we get the updates, we'll post those for the next meeting. And project photos. Okay, that is your main event stairway that you're looking at from the athletic lobby up to the first floor. The handrails on that will be going in on Wednesday. So all the handrails in the building will be going in on Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, next slide, please. There's the front of the building. You can see the new entrance there under the large gray overhang. There are panels that have to be put on. Some of them have been put on, and they're still working on that. They know that once we occupy next week, they can't access the front circle anymore during the daytime, so they're trying to get as much done as they can. Next slide, please. That's your generator here, the new one, and the gray box next to it is the primary switch gear, and then there's the transformer, secondary transformer sitting there. That's classroom doors on the, I can't remember if that's the first or second floor, but that's just a typical example of classroom doors. There's a wall in the center that separates the two rooms for access. Next slide, please. That is your new reception area with the tile on the front and the desk itself. Next slide, please. That's the nurse's suite desk. The blue wall behind it is where the curtains are going for the exam stations. There's exam rooms on either side of that, with bathrooms and a couple workrooms in there. Next slide, please. That's the corridor on the first floor looking west. That was before the rest of the ceiling tiles were put down, but as you can see, it's pretty complete. Next slide, please. That's casework in one of the project rooms. See there's a sink there. And there's, the way the science rooms are set up, there's a science room on either side, and then there's a project room and like a project and storage room on the other side of the back wall there. Next slide, please. That's one of the science rooms. Those are the lab stations. Next slide, please. That again is your stairwell going from the athletic lobby up. That's your main athletic lobby with the tile wall back here with the Littlestown L on it. Next slide, please. Okay, now I didn't add to these last couple of slides because the front of the building where you're looking at now hasn't changed that much. You can kind of scroll through those for me. But that's where we were at the beginning, and then if you just keep going down, that was June, there's August, there is September, October, and that was November, and that's the last one. There has been some activity on this. Can you drop that activity on this section? There's been some activity. They've been waiting for there's a blue band that kind of goes around the building at the first and second floor level. They've been waiting on the materials for, and that came in last week, so that's what they're working on. Are there any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Jeff?
So next month, we're going to report on phase 2?
Next month, we'll be starting on phase 2, yeah. There's a job conference this Wednesday where we'll be going over a lot of that with the contractors. Typically, what has to happen is we kind of have to push them down a little bit because they're going to want to get in there and start ripping things out right away. And we have classes going on in there, so we have to be careful when and how they do that. But yeah, the second phase starts on Monday. Well, they'll be starting it on Monday. I don't think they'll be 100% into it before the end of the week. Because there'll still be moves, and as we all know, any of you who've gone through a building project before, we move into the new building, the first week is pretty much taken up with, hey, this isn't working, hey, that isn't working. So, anything else?
I just want to thank you, Gil. I want to thank the folks that are here in the district, along with the contractors who are really pushing hard these last few weeks to get everything done. I know we worked through a number of issues together, and we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it will be a great day on the 22nd of January when the high school students get to go into that new area for the first time.
And I believe, although I didn't hear from Victor this afternoon, I believe the furniture started to roll in this afternoon.
Yes, correct.
It's rolling in now.
It's rolling in now. Big traffic jam, right? I know there's several tractor trailer loads that were supposed to come in this afternoon. Obviously.
Like 2 trucks a day, they told me.
A lot done and a lot yet to do.
And they're gonna be assembling that furniture in the new multi-purpose room and then taking it down into the building and up the existing elevator, since we don't have the new elevator yet, into the room, so on the second floor and first floor. So, yeah, thank you. It's an interesting project. It's been a little bit hectic this week, but we'll get through it.
Well, I'll tell you, after being into this for 5 years now, I'd like November 2025 to be the finish. I think to be a part of that little celebration.
Yes.
You saying we're gonna have a celebration?
Can't bring the turkey.
That's right.
Thank you all. See you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gil.
Tom, at this point, will you talk about LASP reduction that is on tomorrow night's budget concerning comment the last line of the string?
You mean in relation to the borough?
Yes.
That has to do with the building project. So within the building project, we had to do an escrow account to manage all of the security, what they call security estimates, to meet all the requirements. So like you'll talk about the 88, like the sidewalks, the shrubbery, some of the stuff internally and externally we have to meet, so SOx, runoff like that. When we meet certain thresholds, we're allowed to release that funds back to us. That's what's on the borough's agenda, is to release about half the funds, which are almost halfway through, and that's pretty much half their requirements. So that's what that request was, because the borough has to review and the council has to approve it, then it goes to the engineers to make sure we met all the check boxes, and then we can release funds back to us.
Thank you. All right. John?
So first, last month I put a proposal out there, because of the need of a mental health therapist, because I was going to be going on maternity leave, and you asked me to go out and look at some more options. So I'm still in the process of getting some of those options for you, so by the next meeting, I have 5 right now, but not all. I'm waiting on some proposals, some still haven't gone back to me. It's just with the holidays, just keep home, and we keep going back and forth. So by the next meeting, there will be a couple options. So I'll just share with you everybody I contacted, and this is what I have.
So pause it for a second. So are you asking me to table that motion one more month?
No, this is next week. the voting session, for this month's voting
Yeah,
session.
I know, but for this, will you have them by next?
Yes.
Like,
yes,
okay,
yes,
all right.
I have that, oh, I have that.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. That's why I was
That's
clarifying.
not gonna be too late.
Okay, that's why I was clarifying
Yeah.
when I, okay.
Yes.
All right.
And then also in special education, we're going to be doing some trainings, and this Friday is one of our PD days. So one of the trainings that grade one's our school psychologist is called CPI training, which is crisis intervention. So there's about 13 of us who will be doing some training on learning de-escalation techniques, behavior management training, crisis intervention, just skills to reduce like challenging behaviors, that come up. So we'll be doing that. And then also, I'm taking a team of teachers and we're going through some training at the TAN. It's intensive skills training with emotional behaviors. So it's a 3-day series. We'll be doing one day in January, one day in February, one day in March. And also in that training, we'll be looking at instructional practices, behavior management systems, just how to help support our students with those high emotional needs. We've got a bunch of students coming out.
I look forward to my little QB de-escalation
Yeah.
training.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can you give me a copy of it ahead of time so I know how to, so I know how to get around it? Excuse me. Sure. Thank you. Dr. Nail, excuse me.
From a cyber school perspective, we currently have 64 students enrolled in our cyber school program. Middle of the school year, so cyber school kind of runs on a semester concept. So wrapping up the first semester, grade scheduling for a second semester has taken place over the holiday break. From a security standpoint, I want to thank Safety Officer John Lorenz and our ACES administration, Joey Moran. I know before the holiday break, we talked about parent drop-off and helping and supporting that in looking at what we have currently in place and some adjustments. I know John has some experience in Baltimore County with similar traffic control situations, so they took a look at what we have available to us and what we could do a little bit better to ensure we have a safe morning with our parents and students at LA Free. So I know it's been a process, and appreciate their efforts in doing that. I think it's going very well. From a technology standpoint, I'll just echo on the board agenda, asking for support in the technology department with regards to data administrator. We will be without one for some time. But also when leaving us with over 7 years of institutional knowledge is critical. So there's a proposal there to continue to utilize his services in supporting ed tech from a software standpoint, scripting standpoint. It impacts the student, the teacher, the school district across the board, from the classroom to the cafeteria. Software and technology is involved in that area, and definitely appreciate consideration for that ask with regards to that technology consultation services. We also are almost complete with our Google Cloud migration. We talked a little bit about that with the board in the prior meeting. That should be completed by the end of January. It's an opportunity to take our data servers, hardware out of the school district and utilize Google Cloud services for data. So on the same lines of data, files and managing files, that's digital file cabinets. There are a lot of filing cabinets over Maple Avenue in the storage area, probably dating back to 1930, that we need to have a plan for. So this is kind of as well wrapping in the records management and things of that nature. So I will be meeting with a couple of different vendors regarding how we might take some some of those hard copies and digitize them and put them in a place where it's easier for us to access as well when those requests come in. So we are looking at Maple Avenue, but as well as any other documents that we might be utilizing across the district from a streamlining process, and obviously adhering to state and federal guidelines with the retention policies that we have in place, but looking at all of those records and how we can best manage them appropriately. As Gil mentioned, we're almost ready. So from a technology standpoint, we've been working with our contractors as well to ensure that we can have the building open and ready to go for faculty, staff, and students.
Do we have any questions? Just to clarify, you made something I have. The records have to be kept in 99 years?
Some of the records are, yes, you have to keep records for 100 years. So you can imagine what a request might come in for somebody that wants to, let's say, I'm just going to make something up, but it happens, a transcript from a 1970s grad. And we try and facilitate that request, obviously. So I think having a digital copy of some of these documents will help as well in streamlining the time and effort that goes into working through that process and storing all those documents as well. And part of the proposals are off-site storage. Some of the companies offer as well for the hard copies and things of that nature. Whether we want to go that route on top of digitizing records, will be a conversation we can have as well as we take a look at
Why
that.
should we charge them? I mean, I tried to find a copy of the 1981 paper, and it was like, they wanted to charge a fortune.
So it's a pretty big undertaking, I think, it has to, it's a massive, we need to definitely take a look at that.
So, Dr. Miller, if you get the digitized formatting done, where your documents are secure in that format, what do you do? Does it, that no longer required to keep it, or?
Right, that would be a decision we could make, whether we want to have those shredded or the vendor keep those as well. Those are options to consider.
Can you tell me what your contingency plan is if we say that this is what
Yes. I'll probably rent one of those big containers that you see around the district. I have no
Wrong
plan
proposal.
other than that.
Wrong proposal. I think that when you're talking about the
Solely
Quinn.
because it's quick.
Oh, you're talking about Mrs. I'm talking about the contingency plan Mrs. Gilmore.
I'll take that for a second from Dr. Naylor. I did reach out to a local agency that provides technology services to get another quote to see what we could do and how we might be able to provide for it, because we weren't certain that we would be able to find somebody in the short, quick turnaround that we had. And I would say that this proposal that you're going to see tonight is a much better proposal than what we would have gotten from another organization. It's a lot cheaper, and the quality of the person that does the work, the person who's done the work. I was going to save this until questions came up, but just to let you know, in 2016, I believe, Quinn was hired, and as soon as he came on board, from what I've discovered and found out, is that he began automating a number of processes that we use for simple things such as logins, student logins, security provisions that we have, and he's basically built the system from the ground up. One of the nice things that we have is we have a team in our IT tech department that really works together, and he is extremely proud of what he's put together. So when he came to resign and spoke to me and Dr. Berryman and shared his intent to leave the district, one of the things that he said is, I want to make sure that what you have continues on even after I'm gone. We've built a really great structure and a really great system as a district, and I want to make sure that it continues on and I help transition that new person. So part of that process is not only making sure that we maintain what he's built because he knows those codes and what's written, but also to transition that new person in to understand the codes that he's written and the scripts and those things. So just wanted to share that.
And what were you going to do? You're going to keep those fish?
That's what That's for files.
Right, gotta do what I gotta do.
Either way.
All around the district.
Does anybody have any other questions for Dr.? Hearing none. Dr. Barry.
No dumpsters in my report. Just a couple things to highlight for you. Currently, students in K through 8 are taking their second diagnostic in iReady. The admin team is meeting with our representative tomorrow afternoon from iReady to start looking at some of that data from the fall to our second diagnostic. And then on Thursday and Friday, the rep will be in district meeting with our teachers, helping them to understand the growth that their students have had from the first to the second diagnostic, and what type of instructional practices and tools to put in place in terms of small group settings, some of the differentiation that can happen in there. So they will be working one-on-one with the teacher-specific data with the teachers on Thursday and Friday. We are currently also working on our data presentation to the board, which are the CCMP committee, which will be January 28th. So we will have all of that ready for you to go. K to 3 will work on their letters training on Friday. I think they are now a little bit more than halfway through letters training.
That's the last unit 7.
Unit 7. So we have this one and then March, yes. And then they will be finished with their letters training. And then we will start working on our next group of teachers who also have to have structured literacy. Also with teachers in K to 8 this Friday and next Tuesday, I think I talked about this a little bit in CCMP. I have the gentleman coming in from PDE, who's the math curriculum lead. We've been working with our teachers on really getting into SAS, which is the student standards aligned system for the state, making sure our proficiency scales are all aligned, our assessments are aligned, that we are creating assessments that are at the right rigor level, and using some of the released items that they provide to us. I know sometimes this is scary for people, but they actually have a feature in there where it's kind of like your chat box or your AI, where you can go in and develop test questions, and it will be aligned to the standard and the content that you're teaching, the eligible assessment concepts. So really getting our teachers in and working with that so that they can start seeing how